Welcome back to another episode of Geekorama, where we talk all things superhero. The Geekorama podcast is produced by superherofiction.com, where real fans hit subscribe. We are your hosts. I am Trish Heinrich, the author of the Vigilantes superhero universe, and I'm here with
Jeremy Flagg, author of the Children of Notre Dame universe. Today we're going to be pitting our favorite superhero teams and solo heroes against one another and discussing the victor. But first, a little pop culture history.
So we've been doing the summer blockbuster edition going through the decades. We started with the 80s. We did the 90s last week. So if you want to catch those, you want to find those episodes. It's the last couple of weeks to hear what the summer blockbusters were. But today we're doing the aughts. So we're going to start at the top of the decade in the year 2000. The first X-Men movie is released and becomes one of the summer's top blockbuster films. Some interesting trivia. Rebecca Romijn, who played Mystique, was isolated in a windowless room between takes to keep her look a secret. She endured 9 hours of prosthetic makeup application to 60% of her body every day of filming. The contact lenses she wore were so irritating to her eyes and limiting to her vision that she could only wear them an hour at a time before needing a break. She describes her experience filming this movie as, quote, hell. No big surprise. Bryan Singer, rather infamously, was angry that she couldn't be, quote, more naked during filming because he's a toxic douche bro. Another little tidbit that I couldn't resist bringing up, Hugh Jackman's testicles got caught in his harness after jumping off the set's Statue of Liberty while filming. That is a huge ouch. Fast forwarding to the end of the decade, in 2009, X-Men Origins Wolverine is released and is one of the summer's blockbusters, though no one quite knows why. Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds were both disappointed with the film, and they were not the only ones. Reynolds got a second shot at playing Deadpool when the X universe was reset, thank God. Hugh Jackman was offered the role of Tony Stark / Iron Man and turned it down to do this film, so Robert Downey Jr. was cast instead. Magneto and Professor X were going to get origin story films as well, but those were scrapped for X-Men First Class. And that is your summer blockbuster edition of pop culture history for the aughts. Remy, what do you think?
Have you rewatched the first X-Men film anytime recently?
No, I have not.
It is atrocious. And I say this as like one of the biggest X-Men fans in the world. It is, everyone's like, well, X3 was the worst. No. Let's go back. I got some key moments that I can say X-Men 1 is the worst of them all.
So is it the effects or what?
So no, it's simple things like the most famous worst line ever uttered in all of movies, thanks to our dear friend Halle Berry and her phrase, "What happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? The same thing as everything else."
That is a horrible line. Yeah.
Really? Or Sabretooth, instead of having any sort of humanistic qualities, which I get from a comic book standpoint is good, they dubbed him over with the sound of a real lion roaring.
Wait, he's in Origins because Liev Schreiber plays him.
Yes, it's a different...
I'm confused now.
In the first X-Men, it's played by a wrestler. And then in Wolverine Origins, it's played by Liev Schreiber, which also was pretty bad because Liev Schreiber gets down on all fours and runs like a cat. And who thought that was a good idea?
I've seen X-Men Origins a total of 1 time, and that was enough. And I honestly, that was my only exposure to Deadpool until Dan informed me, yeah, that's not Deadpool. I don't know what they want to call that, but that's not Deadpool.
And the movie did everything wrong.
Which one?
Both of them, for that matter.
Okay.
Wolverine's probably the bigger grievance because they destroyed Deadpool, and when they made him the antagonist, they just it wasn't even Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds was busy filming Green Lantern, so I'm so glad he got that role.
Poor guy. That was a rough year, honestly.
Which, let's just be honest, it was good fodder for the Deadpool films. Like when he made a comment about just make it not green.
Yeah, or not. Don't make it CGI. Don't make it CGI.
Like, okay, it was worth suffering through.
Yeah. And all his digs at Hugh Jackman, that was just brilliant.
And then the X-Men film was so incredibly bad. The good thing was they got the Professor X and Magneto relationship really good. Kudos to Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen. Sir Patrick Stewart, isn't it?
Yes, they're both Sir.
They're both Sirs. That's a whole different story. But their relationship, both on and off the set, was perfect. It was when Cyclops, like, let's be a little more brooding, or Dr. Jean Grey. Like, I get it, Jensen. You're 40 years old and you're still in high school. I get why they aged you up. I get it.
Oh my God.
But then the Rogue storyline, like,
that made no sense to me whatsoever.
Like, in everything that she's ever been in, they're like, let's just make her the most useless person in the whole. She's there to be everyone else's, like, punching bag.
She's the football, basically. And somehow she became I forget the actress's name. It's escaping me, but
Anna Paquin.
Anna Paquin in that role became such a fan favorite that they completely shoehorn her into Days of Future Past. I'm like, that's ridiculous.
And she never even made it into the movie.
There's a Rogue cut.
Yeah, there's the Rogue cut.
Which is stupid.
Might as well be the Snyder cut.
Exactly.
And so it just turned into, and when Anna Paquin, in her early interviews, she was like, yeah, I've never even knew what X-Men were. I never read a comic book before. Go away. I hate you.
Brie Larson at least read all of the Captain Marvel comics. She went and bought them all before she filmed that movie.
And like, well, that whole movie was, the only thing that was good about it was the look of Storm. I'm okay with that. And Hugh Jackman. And I hate Wolverine because he's not the whole X-Men.
Yeah.
So, and Hugh Jackman, I think, is my Wolverine. He always will be. But the X-Men is an ensemble cast. And that was like, oh, here's some super powerful people who are just going to be bitches on the side.
Yeah. And it's the Wolverine show. What was I going to say? There was another Hugh Jack. Oh, yeah. So first of all, the testicle thing, I had to throw that in there because, oh my God, yow. But the first day of filming, the hotel room or house or wherever they were housing him, he goes to take a shower and he doesn't realize the hot water is either not working or it's really low. So he just goes into the shower and it's freezing cold and his wife's in the other room and he can't make a noise because he doesn't want to wake her up. So he's holding in all this, and he's like, oh my God, that's the character. So every time he's ever played Wolverine, before he goes to set, he takes an ice cold shower in the morning to get himself in the right grumpy frame of mind.
And he, in Wolverine 2, he goes on like crazy dehydration diets and like, I mean, he wanted to be Wolverine, whereas all the other characters were, you know, Rebecca Romijn, she was there to get the hot geek factor, and I completely understand that. And if you watch her role over the next few films, steadily, she becomes less and less prosthetic and more cover up to the degree when First Class comes out and what's Jennifer
Jennifer Lawrence, yeah.
When she takes over, she's got like a little prosthetic there, a little prosthetic there. And by the third movie or fourth, I don't even know what we're on anymore, she's like, yeah, peace out. I'm a blonde chick who wears a leather coat.
Yeah. And I can't say, so the other thing, I didn't even put in everything that the makeup did to Rebecca Romijn. She ended up vomiting blue because the blue paint ended up going into her system. She was completely or hypersexualized on set because she's basically walking around nude. And the fact that Singer was constantly harassing her and the makeup crew to decrease the number of prosthetics so that we could see a little more jiggle, a little more nipple. It just, I can't even imagine what she went through on that set, honestly.
And because they're filming in Canada, it's freezing. And when she was on set, because they couldn't keep the heat up, what they would do is she would film and she would do like a 5-10 minute filming, and then she would go offside and they couldn't put a jacket on her. So all the makeup crew were standing there with blow dryers to keep her warm, to make sure that none of the makeup would run. And by in the second X-Men, her time in the prosthetic chair was down to 4 hours, because you can see that she has a lot more single pieces instead of individual scales.
They also allowed her, which sounds so terrible to say, they actually allowed her to wear a type of like it was almost like a latex underwear that they could easily tack down to look like skin. So it was like this, it was almost like underwear prosthesis is the only way I can or prosthetics, but so that she didn't have to have prosthetics down there, basically, which just, I can't even imagine.
And then when you get to J-Law in the Phoenix movie, she's only blue for like 5 seconds, and then it's so obvious that she's wearing a blue bodysuit. Like, it doesn't move with her body. And J-Law was just like, look, you want me in this movie? I don't want to be here. I need a paycheck. Like, I know you're killing me in the first 20 minutes. Can we make that the first 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, when J-Law died, I might have been more excited than when Barry died. Because when the Sentinel stabbed Halle Berry, I might have clapped.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Just saying.
Pretty bad. Absolutely.
I'll never, ever allow her to live down that one line.
It's terrible. It's awful. Well, and I did want to bring up one thing. How glad are we that Hugh Jackman turned down the role of Iron Man? I can't even believe they offered it to him. Honestly, I don't understand.
Short Iron Man.
He's 6 foot. So here's another bit of tidbit. Okay, some trivia. So he's 6 foot, and then the actor that played Cyclops is 6'2". So what they ended up doing is, it's James Marsden is the name of the actor that played Cyclops. They had him in lifts the entire movie. And then there were some other scenes where they really wanted him to tower over Hugh Jackman. So they got an apple crate and he would stand on it. And some guy in the crew was giving him shit about it, and James Marsden was being a good guy about it. But at the last day of filming, a crewman left the apple crate outside of James Marsden's trailer with a sign that says, "In case you need to reach the sink," because they were just making fun of him. But yeah, Hugh Jackman is actually very tall.
So, like, again, I love X-Men, but I was also excited when James Marsden died.
Yes. Oh, I was ecstatic. I was ecstatic.
Like, I shouldn't be excited. Like, literally all I wanted is a whole movie of Professor X and Magneto playing chess. That's it.
Which they didn't know how to play. They had to have someone teach them between scenes how to play chess because they didn't know how.
Oh my God, that's pretty bad.
It is. So, I mean, actually, and if you're listening and you're like, I want more trivia, all of this is on IMDb. Go to IMDb, look up the original X-Men movie that was released in the year 2000, and there's a ton of trivia on there. It's really fascinating. X-Men Origins, slightly less interesting trivia, but there is some other interesting tidbits on there as well.
Train wrecks of movies. Train wrecks is my favorite franchise possible.
They are the most fun to talk about. We should have an episode about our favorite train wrecks. That's what we should have.
I have a lot of them.
I do too.
I love a lot of bad things.
Yeah, I have to admit.
Perfect segue.
It is a perfect segue.
What have you been geeking out about this week?
So, keeping up my tradition of being the late to the party geek, Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm finally watching the show after how many years of it being off the air. But I gotta say, for being branded a kids cartoon because it's a Nickelodeon show, it has some of the most incredible deep storytelling. It really does. And the world building is incredible. The voice acting is great. I am in love with it. And I had watched a couple of seasons of Legend of Korra, which I did like, but my kids lost interest, and so I didn't keep up with it. But this one, my husband and I just put it on kind of as a whim after seeing an episode of Trope Talk where they were talking about villains, and they brought up Zuko, who's the prince of the Fire Nation. And we were both really intrigued. So we find it on Netflix, and I'm all prepared to be like, oh, it's a kid's show. And no, like, it's one of those shows that my kids could totally watch it and they would love it. But I'm watching it and I'm like, holy crap, this is amazing. This character development. And oh my God. And like, I'm totally invested into this. I can't wait. I might even go get the comic books because apparently like there's an entire 2 more seasons of comic books. So I'm like, I might have to buy those. So I'm loving it.
If you want something in the bad category, go watch the movie.
No, I will not. They whitewash the characters. I refuse. I refuse.
That movie doesn't even make train wreck status. It is, wow.
It was so reviled by fans. I wasn't even watching it at the time it came out, and fans were just, I mean, it was deep outcry.
So in my classroom, I'll always say, man, I really loved Avatar. And without a doubt, every student will raise their hand, blue people or Fire Nation. And I was like, blue people. Okay. They're willing to let that one slide. But heaven forbid I say I like the live action movie.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna, because Dan pulls it up. He like loves looking at the IMDb stuff. And he pulls up the cast of the movie and he's like, look at this. And I was like, what is this? He's like, that's the cast of the Avatar movie. I was like, shut up. They totally whitewashed the thing. And that's one of the things I love about the show, Avatar, is it's so diverse. It's amazing.
Plot-wise, it's horrible. Storyline, it's pretty horrible. Character, horrible. Acting, horrible. The sets are beautiful. And that's all I can say.
Oh, God, that's tragic.
Pretty bad.
Well, and I love, because the girls have started watching it during their TV time, but they watch it on their Netflix profile. So Dan and I have like a season ahead of them. But the thing that Rosalind, my oldest, is constantly saying is, it's so cool because Aang's going to become a girl. And at first I was like, what is she talking about? I'm like, oh, yeah, Aang gets reincarnated into Korra. And so that's what she's saying. She's like, Aang is the coolest because he was a girl and he's going to be a girl. And then Kara's like, yeah, and Katara's better than all of them. And she's not even an avatar. So it's just great listening to them talk and be so excited. It makes me enjoy it more, actually.
I love that your daughters fight over geek.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally invested. Like they had a whole deep conversation about Pokemon and which Pokemon you should get as an early trainer. And like, so it can grow with you and develop with you, and like cute versus not cute, like poison versus earth type, you know? And I'm just like, I can't even keep up with you two right now. Like, I know none of this.
Charizard. Always Charizard.
Kara loves Charizard, but she likes the real cute types too. Anyway, I don't know any of this, honestly. What are you geeking out about?
So I have been watching a lot of weird indie films lately. Just there's not a lot of new releases coming out, so you're kind of looking for things that maybe like did the indie circuit and did well. And so I watched. I'm not going to go into it in depth, but I watched Porno, and it is exactly what you think it is.
Okay.
A bunch of Christian teens in a footloose-like town watch a porno that unleashes a sex demon. And I'm going to say, I laughed pretty hard. Are
you kidding me right now?
I also have to say, gore doesn't bother me one bit. And there was a scene in this that I had to look away. I was so uncomfortable, and also involved spectacles. So that's apparently the theme for this time.
Wow, two different segments. Wow, referencing. I'm impressed with us today. Was this a Christian horror film? What is this?
No, it's poking fun at horror films and how Christian people aren't always Christian. Like it was taking like broad stabs, and this is why I'll say it's not on my recommendations list for people, because it took a lot of swings and it only hit a couple. But the one that I am going to recommend, that I'll actually put in the show notes, is Starfish. And the reason that I can actually tie this back into superheroes is because the actress in this film, it won like all of these indie awards, is Virginia Gardner, who some people might know as Carolina Dean from Marvel's Runaways.
Oh my God.
And there are some other actors in it, but it's almost, I would say, an hour and 15 minutes of just her. It's beautifully shot, but basically she's mourning over the death of her best friend, and when she wakes up, everything's gone. And there's only a couple people left, and they talk through radios, and it's basically her trying to solve this Lovecraftian portal open that's letting in monsters.
Oh wow!
And it's good. I'm not going to say that you've got to be willing to be in a very slow film, but the ending, like I had to turn to my friends and say, "Is this what just happened?" And they're like, "Wow, yeah." So,
oh my God,
it's open for a lot of interpretation, but there's like a key twist at the end that just made me go, did not see that coming.
Is it very like M. Night Shyamalan when he was like good?
No, it's about like human conditions, like our emotions and stuff, and it comes out of left field. And when you like think back on it, you're like, oh God, we're a horrible species.
Those kinds of movies, like, I love them, but they also disturb me and they stay with me for a really long time.
Thankfully, it's not like this super emotional invested, like I'm still thinking about it today, but it's not like it's taking headspace and it's not down. So but it has someone from a Marvel show, so I'm gonna say go see it.
Well, and I love that you're doing indie stuff. Like, I know a lot of independent filmmakers, and there's not enough people that give indie enough love. So good on you. I love it.
Unfortunately, what I have discovered is for indie films, I can't. It's based on a manga, something giants. Isolate Giants. I'm getting it wrong, but it was another indie film about a girl who is fighting giants. Like she's trying to save her town from giants, and
oh my God,
it's adorable and sad. Like you walk out, like it's instant depression.
Oh God.
And what I am noticing about indie films is either they get really horrific or they get super sad. Like those are the emotions.
Yeah. They might be the literary fiction of the film world, honestly. My friend is constantly like, oh, you should read this. And I'm like, do they all die at the end? So I'm like, I don't want to read another book where they all die at the end.
Well, if you want something where most of the people live, you can watch porno.
I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna pass.
For a select crowd, I'll say. So do you want to get into the deep dive?
I do. I think we have a fun one this week.
Okay, so this was partly a fluke. How we came up with this is we were talking about teams versus the lone wolves, and then we were like, what are we actually going to talk about for them?
We had a good list, and we're like, what do we want to say?
So what we decided to do is we decided to pair them up and do versus battles and see who comes out on top. So we're going to go through the list, and we're expecting you to argue with us a lot. So we know we're inviting some hate here.
We welcome it. We not hate necessarily, but like conversation.
Bring it on. Okay, so we're gonna do teams verse. Teams first, and then we'll do the lone wolves, because weirdly the lone wolves is a little bit harder.
It is,
because there's not a lot of superheroes that have solo titles that we read. So okay, so we're gonna start with what I think is an easy one, and we all know where I'm going. So it's gonna be Guardians of the Galaxy versus X-Men. So since we talked about X-Men earlier, let's make it even easier than comic books. Let's do Guardians of the Galaxy, the movie.
Okay.
First movie versus first movie of X-Men.
Okay, the Guardians win. Honestly, they would.
Would they though?
Yeah, I totally think so. They have this. Okay, let's think about this. So that because they have what's the name of the ship? It's not the Lisa Marie, but it's not. What is the Alyssa Milano? They have the Alyssa Milano. That's the ship, which I so adore that he named it for her from Who's on Who's the Boss. That's just like
I'm watching her on one of those fashion shows right now.
Are you really?
Yeah.
So they have the Alyssa Milano, so they could come in aerial wise and shoot them down.
X-Men have the Blackbird.
They do, but I don't know. Because we also have, let's see, we got Drax. Rocket is just completely insane. So he's just going to come in and tear everything up.
So if this is going to be those two movies, I think, there's almost person per person.
Yeah.
So if you did, let's boil it down even more. Let's say if we do Quill versus Cyclops, who's going to win?
Quill, because he's willing to play dirty, and Cyclops isn't.
Good call. I'll give you that one. Cyclops wins because loses because he's a goody two shoes.
Yeah.
How about
who would Rocket? Who would Rocket come up? Rocket and Wolverine?
No. It would be Rocket versus Rogue. Yeah, Rocket. I'll
Rocket. Yeah.
So it would be Jean Grey versus
Gamora.
I think it would be Wolverine versus Gamora.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I actually think it would probably be Gamora and Drax versus Wolverine. I think he's my ace in the hole, basically.
Well, and who faces Jean? Would that leave Groot?
I could see a Groot versus Jean battle.
That would be. How would that even work?
No, I want Rocket to take out Rogue because she's useless and she just dies instantly. And it would be Groot and Rocket versus Jean Grey. I want to watch that battle.
Okay, yeah, Groot and Rocket versus Jean Grey. Okay, yeah. I think Jean might kick their butt though, because she's super powerful. Yeah.
So
but they would put up such an epic fight. Like, you got to admit, like, that would be amazing.
And actually, I think Jean might take Groot, but Rocket would play dirty and might take Jean.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Other than Wolverine, I think the X-Men are all like dead in this scenario because everyone in Guardians will play dirty.
I think you're onto something with Drax and Wolverine, though. Like, that is an epic smackdown that would last days, I think. Like, that's...
And I think, so I'm going to say Drax would lose.
Yes, I think so.
But then it's Gamora versus Wolverine. And it's almost unfair because he has healing. And
yeah, but she's trained by Thanos.
Yeah. So I think he would win that one.
It would be close. Yeah, it would be really close. That'd be the only reason. So I think he's actually, in this scenario, he's the only X-Men that would win.
Yeah. And then we're just going to assume that they throw him out of an airlock. It would be Rocket. Rocket would push the button.
He would totally push the button. Yes, yes. After taking Scott's glasses, because he has to have a souvenir.
Yes. I'm trying to think, what is he stealing from them? But that would be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only thing that might give the X-Men the win would be Xavier himself. But
well, what about Storm?
Oh.
She could tip the balance. Well, but
I would want Halle Berry to win.
But not from the but if we are drawing from the movie, see, I was actually thinking comics, and then she would wipe the floor with them in the comics. But in the movie, Storm's a bit, Yeah. Never mind. I take it back.
You know what? I think if we did Storm versus Drax. I mean, she would wipe the floor with him, but he would just keep coming back for more.
Exactly. No, I don't. Any way we slice it, I think the X-Men lose.
Yeah, I think ultimately you have it because they would play dirty.
Oh, yeah.
But it would be a great soundtrack.
It would be a great soundtrack.
I'd be
hands down. Okay, so Guardians.
So Guardians
is the winner.
I think we have a winner because they played dirty. All right, so the next one is actually the one I don't know if I have a clear-cut winner. So we're gonna do the animated for this one.
Okay.
Young Justice versus Justice League.
Ooh. The thing about this is you basically have a 1-to-1 on each team.
Yeah.
You have Aqualad and Aquaman, and it also depends on what season of Young Justice we're talking about, because they get older and more secure in their powers and more skilled, honestly,
and
the further they go.
Take out Superman and Superboy just because.
Okay, yeah.
That you can't have them in a fight.
No.
You have is it Wonder Girl?
Wonder Girl's really not in it at all. She's there in season 2, but not for very much of it. Season 2 has a really good female cast. Season 2 has Batgirl, Wonder Girl, Ms. Martian, Zatara.
Oh yeah.
Or Zatanna, excuse me. You've got Bumblebee. It's a huge lineup. Honestly, it depends on what season of Young Justice you want to do.
I'm going to have to go with Young Justice. And I'm not saying if they were going to duke it out in a fight. I'm using this as a which one would I rather.
Okay.
Because I think because Young Justices are all the junior versions of Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
Your
pretty much
members are going to win in a fight. Though though that was actually the plot.
Yes, that was yes, that was the season finale of season 1, and they actually did win. They kicked some ass.
So, I mean, I'm not going to say they're going to win all the time, but I think they could win.
Well, I think it's a similar case with Guardians. So the older team, the senior team, it sounds bad, but they have okay. Well, in the cartoon even, they have a bit more of a like a moral, not the Young Justice doesn't have a moral compass, but there's much more of a very static, firm, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is what we don't do. And Young Justice, they were more willing to kind of play with blurred lines with that. And that's why they beat them when they were possessed by the alien things on the back of their necks.
And that's why I would rather watch Young Justice, is because they're teenagers. They make mistakes, but sometimes that immaturity allowed them to make decisions that were more on the fly.
Yeah, they adapted better. And they, like I said, they also played within blurred lines a lot better. And Batman even makes a comment about that. It's like, you guys are able to do things and go places that we aren't. So I think they would. I think it's not just a matter of I would rather. I actually think they would.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, there are going to be situations, because Batman kills everyone all the time and Superman's indestructible. But I think given certain situations, I think Justice League would get their butts kicked.
I do too. Absolutely.
So, and let's just be honest, Young Justice was way better of a cartoon.
So good. Oh my God. There's no word that I've heard, at least not that I've heard, about a season 4, and I'm very disappointed.
Season 3 kind of, it was good, but not as good.
Yeah, there was a little, yeah, something was missing.
Okay, so here's the one that Avengers versus Fantastic Four.
Which Avengers?
Let's go with original, just because otherwise there's too people.
So we've got the Wasp, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and Hulk, right?
Yep.
Okay. Versus the Fantastic Four. Sorry, I've just always seen the Fantastic Four as the wimpy Cool Whip of Marvel teams. I'm sorry for all you Fantastic Four fans out there, but I just don't see the appeal.
So I'm going to give it to Fantastic Four.
Okay. Very interesting choice.
So my reasoning is Hulk and Ben Grimm would duke it out for a while, and then eventually Hulk would probably win. Tony Stark has his gadgets.
Yeah.
So does Reed Richards. Reed Richards is the smarter of the two.
Really?
Oh, by far.
Okay.
So Reed wins one-on-one with him. But I think if we're going to use that, Reed would probably whip up some anti-Hulk ray in like 30 seconds flat. And
true.
So I definitely think the brains would be how it would start to turn the tide. However, it would be the Invisible Woman who won the fight.
Yes.
She's one of the most powerful characters in all of Marvel.
Yeah.
And then when she gets her butt handed to her by the Wasp, I mean, like, how's that going to work? Let's just say, for instance, the Wasp somehow wins. She's allergic to wasp bites.
Is she really, or are you making that up?
It would just be funny. I mean, Green Lantern is allergic to the color yellow, so why not?
That is just stupid. Sorry.
And then just as the Invisible Woman's like, oh no, I'm dying, Franklin Richards would show up and kill them all. Because he's done that.
Huh.
I don't know where my...
Wait, is that the Human Torch?
Oh, he's useless. Him and the Wasp would duke it out. And the Wasp would win.
But I think Captain America might be the real problem in your scenario.
Franklin Richards took Magneto and Professor X and combined them into one person. Long story, I won't get into the details.
Okay.
And destroyed the Avengers.
Is that Mr. Fantastic?
No, that's their mutant son.
See, I don't know the team. I just know like the 4. Okay.
Yeah,
you know what? I'm not even gonna argue with that. Okay, yeah, totally. I
their
can see that.
son is he has some of the powers of the Fantastic Four, like that whatever radiation crap. But he's also a mutant, and his ability is to warp reality. So at one point, he killed the Fantastic Four and the Avengers and put them in a pocket dimension inside of a balloon.
Well, that is one messed up kid.
So, surprise.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and yeah, I think that
Franklin
would.
Richards. Because I don't want either of them to win.
We did the team up that neither of us really care about. We're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Like, yeah.
We felt like we needed the Avengers in there somewhere, and it was like.
Okay, so here's the one that you're gonna have to weigh on because I only know a little bit about both.
Okay.
A-Force versus Birds of Prey.
So Birds of Prey, we have Oracle, we have Black Canary, and I'm missing somebody. Who is it? There's a third one. Oracle, Black Canary. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm blanking. There's 3 of them. A-Force, see, I don't know a lot about A-Force either.
Because I know like some of the lineup are Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, I think Valkyrie is on it.
Yeah, okay, so Birds of Prey, Black Canary, Oracle, Wikipedia, you are useless. Main characters, here we go. Huntress. Okay, so it's Oracle, Black Canary, Huntress, and Lady Blackhawk.
I don't think that's a competition.
Well, for A-Force, because A-Force
has gods and cosmic beings on.
Yeah, I think we might have really this is
man,
oh,
we were
wow.
We're gonna get Birds of Prey in there.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like the Avengers. Everybody that's a female character has been in A-Force. I'm looking at She-Hulk, Spider-Woman, Scarlet Witch, Jean Grey, Rogue, Storm, the Wasp, Medusa, Dazzler. Okay, yeah, that's not fair.
Okay,
let's call it.
Let's give Birds of Prey a fighting chance. How about Birds of Prey versus X-Men?
All right. Well, you've got Oracle doing she's quarterbacking the whole thing.
So then it would
calling
be
shots.
Professor X would be the quarterback for the X-Men.
That's a tough one though, because I know he's got like psychic powers, but it's Oracle.
Yeah, but yeah, she's got radio communicators, basically the same thing.
Yeah, and there's like in the comics, she's still keeping in shape. In fact, there's images of her doing chin-ups with her wheelchair strapped to her lower body. So it's like
I love that image.
I do too.
I think if you just go from a quarterback standpoint, I would think she would be the better tactician.
Yes, agreed. Because she's trained by Batman.
So then I think it would be Huntress. Huntress versus. Well, Black Canary would go against Jean Grey.
Yeah.
And I think.
See, with telekinetic powers, that one is hard to beat because you just toss the person around everywhere.
But if she's screaming, then Jean Grey can't concentrate.
Ah, good point.
So
Canary Cry, yeah.
yeah, I think there's a good chance that Canary could take that one.
Huntress versus Cyclops is the one that I would line up.
Huntress.
Yeah, in a heartbeat. And then she'd move on to Rogue and then Huntress.
Huntress versus Storm.
That'd be totally different.
Ooh, that might go to Storm.
Yeah, I think that would go to Storm.
But then what is it? It's Lady
Blackhawk
versus Wolverine.
Yeah. And again, we're up against the same thing, Wolverine's healing power. I think we have a draw.
I think that might come down to a standstill.
Yeah, I think we have a draw on that one.
Because by the end of it, you know what would happen is Oracle would be like, yo, Wolverine, I just found all your illegitimate children and we're holding them hostage.
Yeah, she would actually pull some voodoo out of her pocket, and I shouldn't say voodoo. She would pull some great tactician move.
Yeah, I think it would be a standstill. So Birds of Prey, you're holding on here.
Yeah. We've got about 15 minutes left. Do we want to talk about our solo team or solo versus?
Let's talk some solo. So for this, we decided to go cross dimension. So we're going against some. Oh man, we should have put some Image comic people in that first one.
Next time.
The Wildcats. Ooh, Wildcats take Avengers, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so this we did cross. So She-Hulk versus Supergirl.
I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea.
So I think from a punching standpoint, I think they're on the same
Absolutely,
level.
Yeah.
But I think it would be Supergirl's additional abilities that would make the difference.
Well, the laser eyes, though, like with the Hulk type of skin, it's virtually impenetrable. So the lasers probably wouldn't do so much, but the freezing breath, I think, is where it would get her.
And possibly the flying, because when in doubt, just pick them up and take them to space. That's my answer to everything.
Well, yeah, that is a good point.
So I think I'm going to have to give this one to Supergirl.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you, but just barely. Barely.
Hulk she's gonna get her punches in.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is the one that I really just don't know.
Okay.
Wonder Woman versus Miss Marvel.
They are literally the two strongest women in their respective universes.
Because even if Miss Marvel was cosmic powering down on her, she's got the cuffs
and the shield, and she's a goddess.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so who would be willing to use less conventional methods? Like who would be willing to play dirty in this one?
I don't see either of them playing dirty. Yeah. I see them getting creative, but
I feel at some point one of them's going to be like, yo, this was a misunderstanding. Like, can we go get a sandwich?
They're going to go get coffee, and then they're going to be besties.
Yeah,
that's how I feel this is going to end. I'd say we have a draw.
I'm gonna say truce.
Considering Wonder Woman, and I know people will argue with me about this, but I welcome that. I believe Wonder Woman is more powerful than Superman in the DC universe, and Captain Marvel is certainly, like, if not she is one of the top two most powerful heroes in the Marvel universe. So
yeah,
this is and they're both very pro, like, working things out. Violence is not the first thing they want to go to. They want to work it out. They want to have communication and sisterhood, and
even if it was duking punches, I think that they're on par. And then one's got cosmic power, but she's got the bracelets, and then it
then
might
the
come down to
shield.
the lasso.
Yeah.
So I think Wonder Woman is starting to lose the fight. She uses the lasso, finds out it's a misunderstanding. They get coffee.
They get coffee.
Yeah. And that's a lot of property damage.
Oh, it's a shit ton.
Okay. This is I don't have an answer for this one. Black Widow versus Batwoman.
Why do we do this to ourselves? But I mean, these are the head-to-heads I would want to see, though, if I'm being honest. Batgirl versus Black Widow. Okay, they both have kind of stealthy methods. They both are willing to fight dirty. They both have gadgets of a sort. Like Black Widow is more like knives and stuff, but doesn't she also use smoke bombs?
Yeah, I mean, she's got a little bit of all that assassin stuff.
Okay, so they both have gadgets.
I think Black Widow's probably the better fighter, but Batwoman's the better gadgets.
Yes, and I think Black Widow is only slightly more willing to play dirty. Like, she would play dirty in ways that I don't think Batgirl would like know about or be willing to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this to Black Widow because just when Batwoman is about to claim victory, Batwoman or Black Widow whispers in her ear, "I killed your whole family," and then she wins.
Yeah. Or she just yeah. Well, and also her assassin training is like the elite of the elite of the elite assassin training. So I'm sure there's a nerve somewhere she would hit and like.
But can I just tell you that I think the world would be very okay with a Scarlett Johansson versus Ruby Rose just whole movie.
Yes. Yes, we would.
I would watch that.
I would watch that, especially if halfway through they teamed up because they realized they were being manipulated. God, why can't we have that? Okay.
Okay. The last one is, so we really just wanted Harlequin in here because we've talked about her on the show before, and we couldn't really come up with a decent counter for her. So if you have a better one, by all means, drop her in. But we decided to put her versus Emma Frost of the X-Men because I'm a geek of X-Men. But here is where I'm going to change it a little bit.
Okay.
Because Emma Frost, she can't really be beaten in a physical confrontation because she has telepathy, that she turns into diamonds. So the fight. So I'm going to be a little bit chauvinistic, and if we're going to win, so Emma Frost and Harlequin are going to be our ringside women.
Okay.
Who's going to get more cheers? Yeah, I'm going completely Babbitt on this one. I'll admit it.
Yeah, that is a bit on the misogynistic side. But it's an interesting question. I want to say Harley Quinn.
I think I'm going to go Harley Quinn, and not even for the sexy.
She'd scare the shit out of them until they cheered harder for her.
Like,
that's what I'm thinking too.
I see a light golf clap until like the shotgun comes out, and then
or the bat or like the mallet. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think she would make herself win.
Yes. Yes, she would.
And sorry, Emma Frost, while I will defend you in the comic books, you were played by January Jones, and that pretty much just ended it.
Yeah, I heard the perfect description of January Jones once when she was in Mad Men. Somebody called her the Mad Men acting placebo. And I thought it was kind of brilliant.
She is really good at playing confused, but I'm not entirely sure that's acting.
Yeah. I don't know. I was actually very mystified why they cast her as Emma Frost.
Oh, I was not.
Well, I mean, her great body notwithstanding, just...
And if they were going to use the great body, they covered up the thing that they wanted. So
my memory is that she was in skimpy stuff that entire movie.
But not Emma Frost level skimpy.
Oh.
The comic book I'm reading right now, the cape she wears is the bra. And it there's full under boob.
Wow.
I love Emma Frost because she is a raging bitch. She knows it.
Hey, she owns it. I can applaud that, honestly.
And she knows that she's a weirdly self-aware that she is seen with the male gaze. And she weaponizes it.
That's kind of brilliant.
I don't think it was because it was smart writing, but bravo to the character taking over.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think that's our list.
So we have Guardians, we have Young Justice, we have Franklin Richards killing everyone. We have A-Force, sorry, Birds of Prey, we tried. We have Supergirl, we have Wonder Woman, Miss Marvel Truce, we have a Black Widow win, and a Harlequin for the most entertaining side show.
Ring Girl. I'll call it a Ring Girl. What? I don't know what that's called. Yeah, anyway.
Hype Girl. So, if you disagree with any of them, please let us know. I'm curious to know how poorly we did at this. Because weirdly enough, some of these people have gotten some good matchups in comic books. Unfortunately, we won't see a whole lot of DC Marvel crossovers anytime soon. So we have to rely on the horrible one from the 90s. It was bad. It was
bad.
Where Wolverine and Batman become one in a hybrid. Storm becomes Thor.
Why? Well, actually, that might be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it made sense.
But Wolverine and Batman? Yeah?
Yeah, it was bad. It was a marketing thing, I think.
Well, I love our question of the week that we have. I'm very excited about this.
Okay, you need to explain this one because this came out of nowhere today.
So next week, what we want to do, and this actually did come out of nowhere. We were talking about something totally different, but we're going to do an episode where we take a superhero like Luke Cage and we say what food Luke Cage is like, or Harley Quinn, or Batman, and we're leaving, even Superman. We're going to bring Superman into this, but it's probably going to be a super boring food like celery or something. And what we want, carrot sticks. So what we want from you is what superheroes should we match up with their food personalities? So we're going to be asking this on our Facebook page and in our Facebook reader group, which you can join if you go to Facebook and look at Superhero Fiction Readers. You can join the reader group, or just shoot us an email or make a comment on the YouTube channel and let us know what superheroes do you want us to match up with their food personalities. Give us some good ones.
That is it. So make sure you stop by superhero-fiction.com. There are over 400 superhero books there for you to peruse, read, every subgenre that you can think of. And you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and you can find both me and Trish on Facebook as well. And that's a show.
Thank you for listening, everybody. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Bye. To stay up to date with the Geekorama podcast, you can watch our videos on YouTube or subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts. And if you enjoy the show, leave us a review or hit the thumbs up button. New episodes are released on Thursdays for podcast listeners and YouTube fans.